Investors are up at night worried about frauds like Bernie Madoff and Bernie Ebbers from WorldCom, Ponzi schemes like Alan Stanford and Enron. So the SEC came out last night with a new ruling to protect investors from, wait for it, the effects of global warming and the potential effects of global warming legislation on the companies these private investors put their money in. Yep. The SEC is serious about protecting my mom and dad from accidentally investing in companies that might somehow be affected by climate change. Let's talk SEC priorities with Representative Joe Barton, who I think is also against this proposal. Representative, talk to us.
Well, I think investors should be a lot more worried about how the Obama administration is going to soak them for this $100 billion a year that Secretary Clinton promised at Copenhagen than the effects of global warming on the companies that they might want to invest in. There's no law that requires any kind of a review for climate change issues. There's not even a directive from the Congress to do it. So this is just kind of out of left field, and it shows how the Obama appointees, the three Democrats who voted for this, if they can't do it legislatively, their climate change bill barely got through the House, and it's not even going to probably be voted on in the Senate, that they're now trying to use the regulatory approach. And the beauty of this, it's called an interpretive release. It's not a regulation. It's not a rule that it has to be put out for comment. It's just out there. It's kind of an intimidating threat to the business community. And, the letter that I sent and Congressman Walden sent yesterday simply says, where's your statutory authority? What federal law are y'all referring to?
Oh, for the SEC. You sent it to the SEC. But, sir, I think you're kind of going along why these companies are worried about this. I mean, because we're talking about the California State Teachers Retirement System. That's the nation's second largest pension fund that wants the SEC to force companies to give more information about how climate change, any possible climate change legislation will affect, because they want to know how they're going to invest their billions, trillions almost. Also another fund out of Boston with $8 trillion under management. It's a coalition of investors also wondering how this is going to affect. So I think there is that uncertainty, that concern that these companies are going to be hit with this climate change, whether it's a regulation, legislation, EPA, who knows?
Well, that's a question then that these pension fund managers should present to the Congress to see if, in fact, we are going to legislate, and I'll stipulate that we're not. I think the global warming mania has peaked at Copenhagen. When you poll the American public, it's the least thing they're least worried about.
Yeah.
If I were an investor or a pension fund manager, I'd be looking at what kind of products a company's about to put out, where its marketplace situation is, what its labor management contract situation is, where it's positioned itself in the global marketplace. I wouldn't be worried too much about global warming because
Rep,
scientific evidence is just not there that it's even a problem.
Representative, allow me to jump in here on my geeky 3 pages of notes from the speech last night. Really about 30 minutes into the speech, he says we need to pass comprehensive climate bill, in essence cap and trade. So now here he is. He's talking about doing stuff through the SEC. He's talking about, Rebecca references the EPA, 5 greenhouse gases, including carbon, that need to be regulated, and now pass a climate change bill. It seems like he's throwing a whole bunch of you-know-what up against the wall and hoping something sticks.
Well, that's the president's prerogative. He can propose, but the House and the Senate have to dispose. His climate change bill isn't going anywhere in the Senate. If it came up for a vote again in the House, it would fail. I'm not a Las Vegas bookmaker, but if I were, I would take bets that its odds are 9 to 1 or better that it's not going to happen than it is going to happen.
You know, we're sitting up here and we're joking about this stuff a little bit, and I don't want to allow it to become a partisan thing because it's both under Republican, Democrat rule that we're seeing it happen even right now. What can we possibly do to get the SEC to make sure they are channeling their energies into fraud and not sitting here trying to protect my mom and dad from something that might or might not affect them. And, you know, I am putting it on you. It's not some sort of a joke.
No, it's SEC is serious stuff. Securities and Exchange Commission, there are trillions of dollars the American investment community has put into various companies that are regulated by them, and even international investors. So that's a serious question. The letter that Congressman Walden and I sent yesterday encouraged them to put more of their resources into investigating real fraud, like the Bernie Madoff situation, and the regulatory authority that they have, rather than dreaming up some new new role for them that they're not qualified. And again, there is no law on the books that requires any company in America to worry about global warming as a part of its. Well, it's not a law; it's an interpretive release. But it is a green mail. It does set companies up to. They could be intimidated by the SEC and by some of the more socially active groups out there.
Well, yeah, because they have to follow SEC regulations. Congressman Joe Barton, thank you very much for joining us. And people are going to hold you to that they're not going to have to worry about this. So those companies.
No.
So I'm sure they'll be writing you letters. Thank you, sir, for joining us for Happy Hour.
Thank you.